Hello everyone, it's November 8th, 2015, and this is going to be the final garden update video I do for 2015. So it's been around 7-8 months since I started these, and we've seen the garden obviously grow into what it is now. We've seen some of the great triumphs, such as amazing eggplants, some failures, such as the avocado and our tomatoes, but we're gonna go over all those today, and maybe a couple parts to this, like actual video, like maybe like part 1, part 2, because I plan on going in depth on certain things. But if you guys stuck it out with me all these months, then I'm really happy for that. So thank you all for coming along with me. I was trying to film this yesterday and the day before, but it was really windy, and even now there's kind of like a slight breeze, like you could see. But it should be fine now, and obviously it's only like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and the sun's going down, so I don't have a whole lot of time to do this, but yeah, it'll be all right. Sakura's over there. I don't know if you could see her. She's right there. See you guys. All right, so first off, we'll start the way we always start and just kind of make our way out that way. So, we're going to go over each plant specifically, and might as well just start. So here's the avocado. You're going to realize that the avocado himself is actually snapped in half now. I told you it was really windy. See, poor little dude. He was really windy, and this entire shade structure I had made for him to defend him against the sun, it didn't work, and when it was windy a couple days ago, it kind of just fell. So, Sakura, no, you have to stay over there. She wants to come out. You see her. But she has to stay inside. Okay, but this entire, like, structure, when I came out, it just, like, fell. It was like, bleh, all on the plant. And, I mean, he was dead already. I mean, he never did really well here. See, there's hardly any clouds, and it gets really, really hot, and the sun is very intense where I live, West Texas. So, I mean, these guys may grow somewhere other places, but Sakura, stop. Okay, they may grow other places, but they don't grow here. And, like, I know that avocados don't grow here, but you know what? All right, y'all. So, avocado, maybe not the best choice when I planted it, but I mean, I wanted to see what it'd be like, and I'm sorry he had to die, because I mean, obviously he was never made for this. He was made for like a shady area. Like if this giant structure was covering him a little bit more, it might have worked a little better. But oh well, I feel really bad for him. However, next year I'm probably gonna be planting another tree in this exact spot, because obviously, like you can tell, like I have a system. It's like tree, box, tree, box, tree, box, tree, even though this one's got like covered up by the plants. Then box, this one's a smaller box, and then I need a tree here. My cousin was telling me about cran apples. I mean, maybe? I think that's what they're called. No, not cran apples. They're oh, what were they called? Oh geez, it was like a mix between, oh, a pluot. That's what it was. It was a plum and an apricot mixed together, something like that. And he was like, "Yeah, dude, plant them." So I'm gonna be planting those next year. I'm gonna plant it in this exact spot. So mark my words, I'm gonna plant it here. Okay. Yeah. So that's that box. I mean, we tried. It just never would have worked out. And now onto the eggplants. So these are actually like the latest addition to the boxes. When I had made all the boxes, this was one of the last boxes I made. I originally did not plan on putting this here. As you guys could tell, I had started the garden updates, and then eventually I just added these eggplants in. I didn't start them from seed. I've done eggplants from seed, and they came out pretty much exactly like this. But we had the same problem here as we did with a lot of other plants, is that they got really heavy. So the plant itself, once the fruit was on once the eggplant was on the plant, it got really heavy and it knocked over. So that was a problem, and you'll see the plant just kind of knocked over right there. It's tilting away. Same thing here, and then we check over here. like under these guys. Ow, they got spines on them. But yeah, they all just kind of tilted over, and not that that's a problem because obviously they had a lot of room to just grow out. But it was only a slight problem when, I mean, if there would have been like other plants here, then it would have been a problem because we want them to grow up. And the eggplants, they're strong enough to be able to do so, but I think next year what I'm going to do is plant them in a little deeper in the soil. So like this one, you see like the main roots are kind of just sticking out. I'm planting a little deeper in the soil so they could stick in there longer. And Sakura still wants to come out. A little bit deeper, and then maybe I'll put up like not a trellis, but I'll put up a little like support structure for them. Because I will do eggplants next year, definitely. But maybe I'll stick like a stick right in there, and then if we could just tie the stalk to it. All right, y'all. I apologize for all the cuts in the video. It's just that damn dog doesn't shut up. But onto the eggplants. All right. So this eggplant there's 2 of them. They give off a whole bunch. Okay, so that's a fact. They give off a whole bunch of eggplants, but what I didn't do throughout the process is, and what I should have been doing since the beginning, is kind of thinning them out. So you'll see that there's some big ones in here. Like, look at that one. That one's a monster. I'll pick them right now. They got kind of like lumpy towards the end here. Maybe it's due to the cold. But there's some like really, really big ones, but then there's a lot of small ones. So like I keep looking right here. There's like a bunch of little ones in there. Now, what I should have been doing and what I will do next year is kind of thinning them out to where there's only like 3 or 4 eggplants per plant at one time. And then I'll cut off all the other ones, and I won't let the flowers turn to fruit. Just because, so I could get the nutrients all kind of going towards a couple eggplants at a time, and rather than just a whole bunch of little ones, I could get some big ones. Okay, so that's my plans for next year. I'll kind of hoist them up and tie them to a little, like a stick, kind of like this tree is doing. But, as of now, these guys are great. They gave me, probably a dozen eggplants, the entire thing. Probably a dozen, maybe even like 16 or 17 eggplants, like reasonably sized ones. So I'm happy with that. And, I mean, they did really, really well. Okay, so now, this is the quince tree. We planted him. Did we plant him this year? Oh, yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, we did. We planted him this year, and he's been perfectly fine. Out of all the trees that we planted this year, I mean, he seems to be doing the best. His leaves have never like really turned color. Like there's a slight discoloration towards the end right here, but I mean they're still really green. See, really green. Something ate him, but he's been great. He's gonna do great next year too. He's gonna get a lot bigger. So there's not really much I could say about him. I mean, he's just kind of been good. He didn't fruit, but I never really expected him to. I mean, it's the first year we put him in. So, that's that. Now, on to the Roma tomatoes. So, these guys are going crazy, and I've been talking about my tomatoes for the past, like, 4 or 5 update videos. They're crazy, okay? They turn into these giant bushes, and they never stop growing, and it gets pretty ridiculous. So, I have them in this giant box. Now, I've never done tomatoes before. This is my first year growing tomatoes. So I was not prepared for what would happen here. At all. So some of the problems I had with these tomatoes, obviously they grew really big. They're growing onto my walking path right here. They grew up all around, and they got so big and so bushy and so voluminous, I couldn't get any of the tomatoes out. I'd have to go digging in. Like, look at these guys. Look at how crazy they are. Just in there. There's some tomatoes in there. I didn't even see those, but it got to the point. Look, there's one down here that I haven't even picked off yet because I didn't see them. But look, it's pretty good. They got too big. That's the point that I'm trying to make. They got too big. I couldn't even get in there to pick the tomatoes out. And that was a real problem. Okay, so with that said, what will I do next year that I could improve upon what I did this year? All of my tomatoes, all of them, be it beefsteak or Roma tomatoes, what I'm going to do is make like trellises for them. I'm going to plant them, say instead of like in this giant box all together, I'm going to plant them like in a line, and then attach them to a trellis and have them growing up, so then the tomatoes kind of just grow off. Also, I will be pruning them so that they don't get as bushy. And if there are any that get diseases or whatnot, because this one had a disease, all of mine there were decimated by spiders, I'll get rid of that plant right away, because then I could see what is the affected plant and which one is being affected by that disease, and I could take it out really quick. Rather than here, I was like, what stem belongs to what am I taking out? You see there's a bunch of damage over there, and also being I figured it out that the plants get a lot of diseases such as blight, tomatoes especially, from the ground. So when their leaves are touching the ground, they could get many diseases from that. And the leaves here are effectively just always touching the ground. So I need to lift the tomatoes off and get them into cages. I'll do a mixture of like cages and trellises next year, and maybe even some hydroponics, because I kind of want to try that. So I'll be doing that next year. You can see some little outliers right here, but that's what's going to happen next year. It was too late once I started trying to get rid of this plant, or trying to save it. It was too late. It was too much damage was already done. You could see some of the damage control I did here trying to cut this, but it didn't. Sakura, stop! Okay. So that's that. I'm going to skip this apricot tree really quickly and just move on to the tomatoes, since we're kind of in the tomato genre right now. Okay. So, as y'all know, all of my tomatoes here were completely devastated by spiders, is what I believe is spiders. Because there was a bunch of spider webs on them, and the remains are right there. They've been decomposing in the ditch for like a couple months now. But yeah, I really... The same thing it goes for the Roma tomatoes over there. You heard all the things I'm going to do next year. It's just I wish I had known sooner that these tomatoes are going to get completely out of control, because I could have salvaged a lot of the tomatoes. Although the difference being here with the beefsteaks is that since the tomatoes were a lot bigger than the Romas, I could see them getting ripe. So I still got a whole lot of ripe beefsteak tomatoes from here, more so than I did the Romas, because I could actually see them. Okay, I just kind of went off on a tangent, but definitely going to do these next year. I got a whole bunch of really, really good ones, despite the spiders and whatnot. And also, I think, like, you'll see that the tomatoes are still flowering here. The tomatoes are still flowering, but they're not giving any fruit. I think that's in part to them just me not pruning them back, because they're trying to divert all of their nutrients into, like, say, tomatoes here, vine growth here. It's a hassle for them. Stop, Sakura. Stop it. Okay, so now on to the apricot tree. We still have a lot to talk about, guys. So, on to the apricot tree. Now, this guy, he got kind of crazy. Through the middle of the year, like, I don't know if you all remember, but the branches are kind of coming out into the path. I didn't even think I had this path yet, though. And I was like moving him. I was like, move him out of the way. We cut him back, but this one's in its second year here, and he's doing great. He gave off like 4 apricots this year, I think. He gave off like 4, but hey, okay, well, this apricot tree, he got really tall and stuff, but I mean, he only gave off like 4 apricots, and then the birds ate them, so not a whole lot of fruit production going on, but maybe next year this guy will be pretty good. Like, you can see how long the vine is, or how long the branch is. Like, it comes all the way out here. The thing is at least like a 6-foot long vine. So that's that. I mean, not much to say about him. He still got all his leaves, so those will fall off soon. And then the apple tree. Now, I really want to go back 8 months ago and see how big the stalk was 8 months ago, and see how big it is compared to now, because right now the stalk is huge on this thing. This one didn't flower at all. Like, you see, it's really, really tall, but it didn't flower at all. And I'm okay with that. I mean, it's the second year this one's been in here. But I don't know. I don't know. He has grown a bit. Well, he's grown significantly, actually. So he's going to be great once he starts giving off the fruit. But it just might take a while for him. He hasn't given me any problems. And I think that's a little pecan down there. So. Okay. Now onto this pile. If y'all remember what we planted here a long time ago, almost a year ago, was jalapenos in the front right here, watermelons in the back. Now, I mean, I have theories why things didn't grow here. And, alright, y'all, so, I mean, I have some ideas why things didn't turn out as well as I wanted here. Some of them say the watermelons in the back, I think in the beginning when they were growing, I was giving them too much water, and I think that was the case for a lot of my plants. It stunted their growth. And, also, it seemed right here, like, either they weren't getting enough sun or they were getting too much sun. That was one of the factors as well. So, like, the jalapenos, I know their leaves are really small. So when you're getting stunted growth on the leaves and on the stalk, it's probably because, you know, they're trying to minimize the amount of sun that they're getting, and at least not what I think. So if there had been a little shade structure and these plants were smaller, it may have helped. Who knows? But this is like the weird box. The Highlander pepper that I put in here took off like crazy. He, of course, fell down because he couldn't hold himself up in the soil. But you could see, look at the size of the chilies he's got on here. They're really, really awesome. So I will be doing Highlander peppers next year, but if you remember when I first planted these, they were the weakest of the bunch of chilies that I had gotten. But they turned out to be some of the best. So I'm gonna plant them next year. Definitely, if I could get some. But who knows? I would be okay with getting them though. Okay, so now the purple plum. Not much to say. He had some little tarty, like fruit, fruit things that are not supposed to happen in these plants because they're purely decorative plants. But they were in there at the beginning of the year, and it was all right. They were like really tart. I think y'all remember. They were like really, really tart little like berries, and I ate one. Same thing right here. Okay, y'all. So now on to one of the best buckets of my entire garden. So we were kind of infiltrated by grass back there, but I mean that's not much of a detriment to our garden. But right here, we planted melons in the back, watermelons, and then chilies in the front, Jalafuegos specifically. Okay, so originally, the watermelon, some of them had died, and I was like really sad because I think the first die-off that I had was like a watermelon back there or something. Is like the first one to die. And I mean, it was pretty sad, but eventually the watermelons just kind of took off for some reason. I think when it started getting really, really hot, then the watermelons took off. They was like, we want all that sun. And they got it. So, I mean, they took off and then they grabbed onto the back. You see the watermelons went all the way over here. I finally picked these, by the way, and they grow all the way out here. There's still one right there. I'll pick him soon. Actually, I'll get him right now. Because since it's the last one, this is the last update video, might as well get him, and also because of another reason. Oh my god, look at that. He's like a 10-pounder. It's a 10-pounder right there. Okay, also the watermelons just kind of died on me. The last couple days they didn't really make it. They were there in the back. They didn't make it. It just got too cold for them, and there was too little sun. So that's that. Now, that's the watermelons. I remember being told by my dad and my cousin over there, like, you're gonna plant all those tomatoes there? They're like, or watermelons there? They're like, good luck, because they thought it was gonna get crazy. They did grow out a bit, but not to the extent that they had like forewarned me about. Okay, so now a couple weeks ago we did the great chili harvest, and we harvested a whole bunch of chilies. Oh, geez, just dropped my phone. Okay, so we harvested a whole bunch. Okay, so we harvested a whole bunch of chilies a couple weeks ago, and I told you I was gonna leave some on. So the ones that are here and the ones that are really, really big right now, like look at that guy. Look at him. And then all these guys up here. And then all these guys right here. I told you guys we're going to leave some on. And I mean, these are the ones we left on. And so I'm going to do another picking. We could do that right now, actually. I'll go ahead and pick all of them off because, I mean, obviously they're going to stop growing soon. And yeah, I'm not going to try and save these Jalafuego plants over the winter. I mean, they're all just kind of scattered in there like rickety. I don't really like how that looks. And also just because, I mean, I want to use this box for something else next year and have it all organized. And they serve their purpose. So they did all right. And actually, they served their purpose really, really well. Like, these Jalafuego plants, oh, geez, they're extremely hot peppers. Like, extremely, extremely hot. And I'm sincerely grateful for that. I'll show you guys how much produce we got. Oh, there he goes. Just put him there for now. I'll show you guys how much produce we got from these peppers and from all my pepper plants at the end of this video, and it will blow your mind. Just considering how much we have right now is all that we've saved. So more on that at the end of the video. Look at that. But yeah, guys, these are super spicy. They don't grow exceptionally huge. Like some of them do. Some of them grow really big, but like not to the size of Highlander peppers. But yeah, I really like them. I will definitely like 150, 160% grow these next year. So 150%, maybe even do a little bit more in hydroponics. So let me actually grab as many as I can out of there. I'll grab as many as I can really quick, and then we'll continue on for the next couple buckets. Okay, y'all, I might look a little barren, but I went ahead and picked off all the chilies that were on here, at least the significant ones, not little ones like this, but bigger ones. We actually got a pretty good amount. Oh, geez, I'm shaky handing right now. Oh, there's some more actually, look. Oh, these guys are hiding from me. Okay, see? Yeah, and I've noticed this before, but I mean, I said it on a couple videos ago. Most of the chilies, like, I got this one from the very bottom of the chili plant. I got these from the top. The ones that are pointier tend to grow at the top, so like pointier chilies grow at the very top of the plant. I have no clue why. None in the slightest. So maybe I'll do a little research on that next year. But yeah. So that's that, guys. On to the next one. There's a cantaloupe there, but we'll address the cantaloupes in a bit. Okay, so here's the quince tree. Or no. The apple pear tree. It's got some damage around the leaves, and this happened a while ago, but I just kind of ignored it because I know exactly what it is. It's not disease or anything. It's just a nutrient deficiency. I think it's like a potassium or calcium or something. And I'll just, next year, I know that it's deficient in something, so I'll just give it a whole bunch of freaking nutrients, and then that'll work. But it did give off quite a few fruits, and I'm very, very happy about that. So, I mean, next year it'll be great. Okay, so on to the cantaloupes and the chile de árbol. I remember when these guys first started, the chile de árbol, they were really, really small, like the smallest of the bunch of chilies. And they grew to be some of the biggest, most bushy, especially. There's a whole bunch of chilies on here, whole bunch of red chilies. They're ready to go. I'll pick those off right now, actually. Just like I picked those, I'll pick these, and that'll be that. But let's go ahead and talk about them for a bit. So, as the problem with many of my plants, when I planted all of these raised beds, what I had done is put like kind of like a hard dirt, fairly hard dirt underneath, and then I put like potting soil on the top. And you could see some of the potting soil there. However, when I planted these plants, the potting soil, I planted them like here's the potting soil, and I planted the plants directly at that level. Well, the potting soil rotted away, or like eroded away, and then the roots, the top part of the root system of the plants was just left there. So like you can see So one of the problems there for that plant. You can see there, this plant just completely fell over. What happened to you? I don't think he's all right. This one just kind of fell over. Well, see the top part of the root system for this plant is just exposed, and that causes all these plants to fall over. Every single one of them fell over, except for this one. But every single one of these plants fell over, and it really sucks because look, you can see how bushy they are, how bushy they become, and now it's just harder to get at. But you can see how tall he'd be. You can see how tall he'd be if he had grown upwards like he was supposed to, with proper support. So that's one of the problems like my entire garden has. So next year I'm gonna be planting my plants, fairly deep, deeper than they are now, and I'll be mixing in the potting soil within the other dirt. Also, there's that giant hole there that I've addressed quite a bit. Okay, so now, Chile de árbol. These guys, they're not huge. Like, there's some definitely very many discrepancies between like the plant itself. Like, look, you can see how big some of the fruits on this plant are. Like, they're absolutely ginormous. But then compare them to like some other ones, these a little bit smaller. So that's one of the, like, the weird things, but they're all really, really spicy. So I'm definitely okay with that. Will plant next year, definitely 100%, just because they're really, really spicy, and I like really, really spicy plants. I'll go over some of my plants for next year as the video ends, but I just wanted to tell you all that. So I'm gonna pick them real quick, and then we'll get on with it. All right, y'all. While I was like halfway done picking all these things, I'm almost done with that one. We were greeted by some parrots. There's some parrots that kind of just came into my yard, so you could hear them. If by the time we get over there they're still there, then I'll show y'all to them. They're a bunch of green parrots. So let me finish this. All right, y'all. Well, I picked all the chile de árbol that were on here, all the bright red ones. There's still a couple, but I'm gonna leave those. But yeah, guys, so to comment on the cantaloupes a little bit, look at this giant weed. I'll leave him. He ain't doing no harm, except he's gonna put his seeds everywhere. So to comment on the cantaloupes a little bit, they spread everywhere. That was one thing. They spread absolutely everywhere. And my original plan was to get the cantaloupes to climb the fence. Now they did for a time. However, the tomatoes on the other side of the fence ended up climbing it as well. And because of that, cantaloupes kind of died. So, oh, you guys hear the parrots? Yeah. The cantaloupes, though, they gave us a whole bunch. At least 2 dozen full big cantaloupes that I got from that batch and this batch. So I'm extremely pleased with those. I may or may not plant them next year. I kind of want to. But I may plant them closer to the fence, though. That's the one thing I will do. Plant them closer to the fence. Man, I think it's cool. These parrots, I've never seen parrots in my backyard before. But my dad was telling me that at one time they came in like the thousands to my neighborhood because we have these giant pecan trees. See? So I think that's a really good way to send us off with this garden video of parrots. They came to say bye to everyone watching. Okay, so that's all I really have to say about that box. Moving on to the peach tree. Now, if y'all remember, the peaches got absolutely beautiful in the beginning, or there was a whole bunch of flowers, and then there was a whole bunch of peaches, and oh my god, it's Sakura! Okay, but if y'all remember, at the beginning of the year, the peach tree was covered in beautiful flowers, and I was like, yes, this looks so beautiful! But then all the peaches came, and there was too many peaches, and then the birds got to them. And then the plant just basically died. Like, honestly, all the leaves fell off. Or they started withering, and I was like, no, the plant's dying! And then we had one of the branches break off. But this guy, he knows the real meaning of persistence, and he came back. Beautiful green leaves. So high hopes for you next year, buddy. I think, yeah, we planted him this year. We did. I believe in you. Okay, moving on. Also cantaloupes here. There's another cantaloupe back there. I'll pick that. There's a couple cantaloupes in here that I just didn't pick. Like, see these? And I can pick them right now, but I think what I'm going to do is just compost them. I'm not going to eat them. They're kind of small and, I mean, not really worth it. Oh, look, they ran out. Look, the parrots are going away. Look, look. Oh, they're all gone. Or there's a couple left, but they're leaving. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Have fun. Oh, look, they're going that way. Y'all could see them. Live very fulfilling lives, my friends. You colorful bastards. Alright, so onto this box. Now, same thing here. I wanted the cantaloupes to grab the vine or grab the chain link, and they did, and it was perfect, and they worked excellently. Although I think they got too much sun. It seemed like when there was just, I mean, a whole bunch of 24 parrots right there. Okay, I think the cantaloupes got a little bit too much sun. So that's that. Onto the Highlander peppers. The Highlander peppers, if you remember when we planted them, they looked basically like this. Almost exactly like this guy does now. Just imagine like, shit. And they look, I didn't have high hopes for them. They looked really, really weird and stringly. And I was like, okay, these guys are weird. And they look weak, basically. But, contrary to what I had believed, like in the first couple weeks they didn't do that well, I remember that. But then they took off. And now, look at the size of these peppers. Monstrous. This is from one plant. No, two plants. Look at all these. Same thing though, they fell over. Next year I will plant these. I like how they grow really big. Like it gives me a lot of satisfaction to see like, hey guys, I grew this giant pepper and it's spicy and it's nice and I love it. So yeah, I will grow them next year. It's just like, it's satisfying. Oh look, that one's ready. And they're really easy to pick off too. Oh look, this one's ready too. Oh, not that one. That one's kind of ruined. But this one seems about ready, and it looks like a. Oh, geez, guys, I did it. Oopsie. Okay. Good thing is these two are basically done, but I pulled it and then. So yeah, that's that. Let's move on, shall we? I'll leave these here. I'll pick them all up on the way back. Okay. So now, the apricot tree that we planted here. He gave off no fruit this year, but I mean, we planted him this year, so I mean, I can't expect much. He's been, like, he's doing okay. Not as great as his friend over there. Something's wrong with him. I will say that much. Something's wrong with him. I don't know what it is. See, the tips of his leaves are kind of hurting right now. I'll figure out what's wrong with him, but I can't say he's doing bad. Maybe doing it just a little poorly. Okay, so here's the mint. Now, we've cut this mint back quite a bit. My brother has. He mutilated it at one point, but it just keeps on coming back. And it's been like that the entire year, and I'm happy about it. I mean, it still smells like mint. Well, it is a mint plant, so you like crush up the leaves and then, minty. So, not much to say about the mint. I mean, next year I kind of want to do a little bit more, like, because there's different varieties of mints I could get. And they all smell kind of different. So I'm going to be doing, I could maybe set up like a couple more buckets if I still want to do it along the ditch bank here on my garden. Maybe I'll do like a couple more buckets around the grape of just different kinds of mints. I think that would look cool. Okay, so here's the grape. If you guys remember, what we had tried to do with the grape was kind of lead him off this little chute right here and then grab onto the chain link. Well, he didn't make it. He turned into a bush. So he's all bushy right now, but I water him and he's doing good. Next year, I hope he's going to give us at least a little bit of grapes. But I don't know how long grapes normally take to grow. But yeah. Okay, so here's the record for how long the cantaloupe went. It came to the grape. The cantaloupe vine goes all the way back there. That's a record. Okay, so here's the plum. It lost most of its leaves already because it's cold and because, I mean, it's fall. And we lost the daylight, so he's going into winter mode. He gets dwarfed by that big tree in the background, I know, but Right there, you can see him. He's going into winter mode. He didn't give off anything this year, but we planted him this year, so he'll be all right. Oh, geez, all the leaves fell. Okay, here is the piece de resistance. Basically, the masterpiece of the garden is my Jalafuegos right here. These guys are absolutely amazing. They give off giant chilies, and they look great. The plants is super healthy. Nothing wrong with them. I love it, guys. This is what I'm going to do next year. Next year, this year I planted these entirely in like super sandy soil. Okay, so like this is like sandy, and it's like it just drains water out of it really, really quickly. It doesn't really retain water all that well. And I think that's what the chilies needed, especially from the get-go. I mean, I tended to water them too much in the beginning. Oh, that's a cool shot right there. Like you see on my entire garden. Through the forest leaves. Okay, and then there's a little jalapeno here that I put. Okay, I'm gonna pick all these. I really want to pick all of them. And you guys can see what it looks like at the end. So let me do that really quick. Okay, guys. Well, the parrots are back. They're kind of just like hanging around the neighborhood now, I guess. But I went ahead and like stripped this entire thing. It looks naked. Like the entire plant legitimately looks naked. But this is what I aspire like to be, or what I aspire to make of all my chilies, especially next year. This plant right here is the single greatest plant I have ever grown. Besides last year, I grew an eggplant that was absolutely fantastic. This is one of the greatest plants I've ever grown. So if you look, there's a stalk right here for the Jalafuego, and then it splits off, and it's like a massive plant. This part and then this part. It goes up at least 3 feet. Like, this is what I'm gonna judge all my plants from now on with. Like, it goes all the way up to here. My belt/belly button. And then I got all of those chilies from it. From these 4 plants, actually. That's a whole lot of chilies. And look, there's a really big one in here. Next year, I want to see how big I could get the chilies. How big I can get a chili. Look at how big that one is. Oh my god. That's like if you were to get like hormones and GMO and pesticides and shit, and then like, these are the ones you sell at the store, basically. Like you would get at a store. This size. But mine's completely organic. So there's the difference. So you guys are great. I love you. Next year, I'm going to actually see if I could save these throughout the year. I'm going to trim them back a whole bunch. Cut this one about half the size. Cut these half size. Trim all the leaves, everything. And I'm going to put some like plastic over them. See if I could keep them through for next year. Because I love them. Okay, guys. So that is it for Zone 1. You got to see everything that we have done up until now. 8 months of very, very hard work. Watered it. I water these plants every other day. So if you can imagine how many, okay, so 30 days to a month, 8 times 30, what is that, like 240? And I water it every other day. So I've watered these 120 times. At least 120 times. Look, there they go. It's a whole bunch more. I've watered this entire garden, guys, at least 120 times in the last 8 months, and it's just so beautiful. This is what you can get if you're really diligent at working at things. This is Zone 1. If you guys remember, I had originally planned on being like, this is Zone 1, I'm going to take care of this zone by myself, and then Zone 2 is going to be my brother's. But he ended up not taking care of it at all, and I ended up taking care of most of it. So that's what this is. We'll get into it right now. Let me just show you guys this really quick. These are strawberries. You guys remember we had strawberries? I planted that new one and it rooted in. It took, and then this is going to be a vermiculture bin. So me and my brother were going to compost using worms. However, it didn't really work. But we had threw like old tomatoes in there because we were like, oh hey, worms could eat the tomatoes. Guys, there's bunches of tomatoes growing. Like, look at all of that. Those are all, each one of them is a tomato plant. Look at all of that. Each one of these is a tomato. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think I'm going to just leave it. I'm just going to leave it, see what happens. But yeah. That's that. Strawberries. Maybe we'll do strawberries next year. My brother made like a hydroponic thing. Like a little hydroponic tower he wants to do strawberries out of. So that'll warrant a separate video once we get that settled and done. But just understand it may come or it may come. Because I like strawberries. And we have a strawberry thief named Sakura who likes them too. Okay, so now on to zone 2. I'd say 3 months into the adventure here at the garden, we had a problem, which was overflowing of tomatoes. So all the tomato plants kind of just overflooded into like a little walkway that we had here. Because I remember I'd been able to get into that walkway. Can't do that anymore. So that's that. All these tomatoes actually gave off a whole bunch of tomatoes. So I'm very, very proud of that. I'm happy about that. All these tomatoes produced a whole lot. Next year, of course, what I had said, I'm going to hopefully trellis these guys. So I'm going to be growing the tomatoes upwards. I may just grow them in this same exact spot because the tomatoes loved it here. And they loved the soil and they loved everything about this area. And plus I could attach them to the chain link. So I may just do it in this exact spot, tomatoes again. But obviously more organized. So that's always a possibility. Onto these chilies themselves. I will not pick these. These guys are actually really, really tiny. Like all these chile de árbol. And I mean, I'll pick a couple on the way back. But I'm not going to pick very many. Just because I have a whole bunch right now. The jalapenos, though, you see they turn yellow, and the other ones aren't. The other jalafuegos I have aren't yellow. These guys turn yellow. I told you why. My brother just put gasoline on them. So make sure you don't mix gasoline with your plants. It doesn't really work well. Like, they should be this color, not that color. So that's that. The jalapenos, mine came out really, really stubby. Like, this is a jalapeno, and it came out stubby. I think it's because they're like early jalapenos and they give off like jalapenos early. I don't know. The plants just didn't like it here. Like the chilies. I mean to say chilies. Like they just really didn't enjoy it here in this little box. I don't know why. I am not entirely certain. I may have to. What I'm gonna do is next year, before I go and start planting everything, I'm gonna go back and watch all my old videos and see what plants took off when a certain amount of sun was hitting these plants, how did they perform and whatnot. So I'm gonna do a bunch of research beforehand planting next year. It's just I can't remember off the top of my head. There's some tomatoes in there that are ready for picking. But again, one of the problems I had with all these tomatoes is, especially right there, you can see there's gonna be a whole bunch of tomatoes under here. I promise you that. Well, look at tomato, and then tomatoes. Except it's heavy, and look at, I could lift it up. It's so heavy. Okay, it's just really hard getting in there and getting anything. Like, how do I get those back there? I have to walk all the way across this and damage all the plants. I'd rather not. That was one of my main gripes about it. But also, we had a little problem. My brother planted a lettuce here. He planted a lettuce here, and I've just been watering it, and it went to flower, and it flowered, and now there is lettuce underneath down here. So now we have a bunch of lettuce plants growing, and I have no clue what to do with them. Oh, look at these jalapenos. You guys see that? Something fell right there while I was picking these. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Right there. Mating grasshoppers. I was like, whoa, they flew over right there. Grasshoppers tend to like these jalapenos in this like area around here. I've seen quite a few whenever I'm watering. They're nice. I've only had one mean grasshopper ever in my life because it was eating my eggplant last year. The giant one I was telling you guys about. Like that one puts my eggplants here to shame, and it only gave off 4 eggplants, but those were the most delicious and voluminous eggplants I've ever seen. But it was eating my plants last year, and I was really mad at it. I was like, dang. And I'd get them, and I'd like spray them with the water hose, and he'd go flying off into the bushes, and I'd be like, okay, cool. He'd come back the next day, and I'm like, geez, not you again. He was like my mortal enemy, but eventually he just left one day. And I was like, okay, cool, thanks, dude. Last year's garden, I tried doing this as well. Last year I tried, there wasn't really much of a garden, but I was growing things in like pots. It was my first time just like trying stuff. And I have the videos there. I had done this same thing, but I never uploaded them to YouTube. I think I stopped eventually. I don't know when I stopped, what time of the year. But I had done the same thing. I was like, yeah, documenting all this. Maybe I'll upload them one day, but it was really, really cringy because I didn't know half as much as I know now, even though I know nothing. But I was like, oh, hey, why aren't my tomatoes growing? Ooh, I don't know. It was just like, it was really cringy. I'll pick these up later on the way back. But yeah. But the only thing I was able to grow last year was 1 squash, an eggplant, like the plant itself, and then it gave off 4 like super awesome eggplants. I was like, yeah. Cantaloupes, I had like 3 cantaloupes, and then my pumpkins got eaten by birds, so that's sad. But last year I grew everything from seed. Every single thing I grew it from seed, and that was amazing. So that's about it for zone 2. Next year plans for zone 2. What I want to do is I'm gonna get this box and I'm gonna take it out. Okay, I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna put it over there. So because remember, there's like a box here. You can't see it now. There's too many tomatoes, but there's a box here, another box, and then I'll put the 3rd box out that way. So I can just grow all along the fence. Like this fence is my life. Okay, it holds up a lot of my plants. Like the tomatoes intertwine themselves into the fence. It's that great. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. And then maybe right here along this like skirting edge of cement and like along the edge, I might try some hydroponics or some aquaponics with some fish. I always want to try that, and I've always wanted to try it. And I mean, when you're learning about plants and when you're planting things, it's an ongoing experience. No one ever knows everything. There's always something to learn. That's what I've noticed. There's always something more, okay, to get out of it. Okay, it's just, there's so much to know. Like just the other day, I was reading up about like cross-contamination between your chili plants, because I bought some Carolina Reapers. Those are the hottest chilies in the world, and I'm gonna plant them next year by seed. I bought some Reaper seeds, and I was reading up about them, and they're like, make sure you plant them away from your bell peppers, or else you're gonna get super spicy bell peppers in bell pepper seeds. And I was like, oh wow, I mean, the bell pepper seeds are gonna come out spicy, like the descendants of those, because they might get cross-pollinated. So there's always something to learn, and that's what I really, really enjoy. Because like, I knew nothing last year when I started. I knew nothing this year when I started. But slowly but surely, I'm getting more accustomed to all the plants that I'm growing, what they look like, what temperament, like what kind of heat they like. I don't know, the sun, the shade, the soil types, the nutrients, diseases such as these plants. I mean, it's crazy. There's a lot to learn. Speaking of which, I have no clue why these plants, like I had one plant die here, tomato plant. I had one plant die here from blight or from disease or something. Look at her over there. She's like, let me in. I have no clue why all those died and then these didn't. It boggles my mind. It may be due to the soil though, because there's sandy soil here, a lot sandier than those. So that soil may just withhold disease, or it may have even harbored it. I have no clue. But yeah. She's barking at something. Oh, look at, she's trying to get that bird on the wire. So she'll bark at it. She's trying to get it. She's a silly dog, but I love her so much. So there's that. I'm gonna weigh all of my plants or produce that we got this year, guys. All the chilies that we have gotten this entire year. I'm gonna weigh them all at the end of this and see how much we have. I'm expecting at least 20 pounds. Okay, y'all. So, as I said before, this is kind of like the cursed area. And I'm still going to go over it, obviously, because it's part of my garden and it's important to me. Oh, look at that. That is a Jalafuego. Man, I remember when I had planted all these, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it up right. Look. Jalafuego. I was like, I'm going to do it up right. And I planted these. I was like, yes. Jalapenos. And it looks so cute. Everything was so cute, like in a row. But then just nothing ever took here. You hear the kids in the neighbor's yard. But look at, y'all can see my tomatoes. My tomatoes that I planted here, he's getting damaged by something. You know what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to take them inside. So I can grow them inside. Because they're not growing at all anymore. They're just kind of chilling here. Like, these got, I'm going to take these inside for next year. Go ahead and pick off all these chilies. I'm pretty much ready. See? These are Jalafuegos. I told you before that I'm going to overwinter them. I'm going to be overwintering them. I can have them for next year. They're getting a little damaged, and I'm not exactly sure why. It may be because they're getting too many nutrients. I threw a bunch of compost in there, and it might be too concentrated for them. So yeah. And they're also in buckets. So that's it. Like, the leaves definitely aren't as big as they can be. So I'll figure out why that's the case. But yeah. Jalafuegos, they're my stars this year. They've been doing great. Okay, y'all. So, in addressing this plot of land, what I really want to do is, and what I'm thinking about doing is setting up a little greenhouse here. And even though this land is cursed, don't worry, I'll set up a bunch of, like, bad voodoo traps to catch evil spirits just so they don't enter this place. And maybe I could cleanse it of its evil aura. I don't know, gypsy stuff. Okay, so the tomatoes actually took off. Like, I stopped watering this area, like, entirely. So all the chilies that were back there died. Everything that I had planted died, except for tomatoes, because tomatoes don't really like a whole lot of water. Look at this. Look at this. It's great. The cages didn't really work. Like, this tomato ended up getting something and dying. I wish I had gotten these cages and put them over there, but I didn't. My bad. But this is what I want to do next year. I want to get tomatoes like this, that grow like this. It's growing inside the cage. And Sakura is screaming over there. I want to get tomatoes inside the cage like this, but I want to trim them down. Maybe I'll even make my own style of cages and trellises and whatnot, just so they could get a little bit bigger. And then these peas / beans that just are so rocking right now. Didn't even want them, but they came out. And me and my friend were over here actually a couple of days ago eating these things. They're pretty good. See a little white bean? Hold on. It tastes to me kind of like gum. Look, watch. I just threw the seed pod in there. These seeds, they're gonna come out next year, I know. They taste kind of like gum. They have the consistency of gum. I want to turn this into a greenhouse. That'll warrant its own video, definitely. Its own video. However, I'm not entirely sure, just because there's a lot of seeds in here that are just lying dormant, waiting for the right conditions to, jump up. Not saying that that's a bad thing. It's just that it'd be annoying every time I come in here, just to because I'm gonna till the soil. I'm gonna do everything, but I'm gonna plant everything into the soil. It's like, imagine like an arch going over and then me planting into the soil. It's just, it'd be annoying ripping up weeds and excess plants that I don't want. Not saying it's a horrible plan, but that'll warrant its own video. Okay. So yeah, I think what this area just needed is a little bit more sunlight. Like it only gets direct sun. Maybe if it got a little bit more morning sun, like that building blocks it. Man, Sakura never shuts up. Okay. Last part is I'm just gonna go over my compost really quick so you guys can see. Oh, that's that. I've stopped turning it. I'm just gonna leave it for the winter. Or maybe I'm just gonna leave it in here, and whenever I need it, like when I'm planting new plants next spring, I'm gonna bust it out. And also, I told y'all, never water your compost. I put this over to protect it from water, and it smells absolutely horrible. But I threw broken watermelon rinds in there and tomato. For the love of God, do not ever let water get into your compost. Ever. We learn something every new about gardening. Or we learn something every day about gardening. There's always something to learn. Okay, let me go ahead and grab these guys, and then we'll make our way back over, so we could end it at zone 1. I think it's really bittersweet to end things. I've been watching a lot of Bob Ross recently, the painter. He said, "Don't be sad because it's ending. Be happy because it happened." Right, Sakura? I'll throw these with my Jalafuegos. Jalafuego pile. Okay, y'all. So I'd like to thank you all very much for watching all these months of update videos regarding the garden and putting up with me learning trial and error, learning about plants, enjoying them and their company, because obviously they give me something to do. It's therapeutic for me, and growing plants and seeing how far we've come. I am the sole reason that all these plants are here, and that provides great satisfaction for me. All this green that you see was not here 8 months ago. How could I be quiet? All this green was not here 8 months ago. I mean, and some brown. But I really appreciate that you guys are watching this. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank y'all for watching and coming along on this journey with me. Oh, even Sakura's, she's tearing up. So yeah, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed watching these videos. I mean, Sakura, be quiet. I had a lot of fun making them. So I hope you all enjoyed watching. And if you have any comments, criticisms, advice, anything you want to tell me, go ahead and say it. I mean, we're all in this journey together. So that's it, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you next year. Bye.